Guten Abend, good afton. It's Rainer from Rainierbooks, and this is BookTube, and this is my channel where I speak about books written in English or translated into English, mostly actually. But today I'm here to do a tag, the Q tag. I'm still working on Jim from Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff's alphabet tags, and this is the Q tag today, so listen up. We get started. It is really late. It's 1:20 in the morning, 1:20 a.m. But I cannot sleep, so I do a tag, I thought. And here it is, the Q tag. Q is for quick. That's what Jim says. What was a quick read for you, for me? A book you read in one or two sittings. Actually, I don't have these kind of reads, even if with shorter books that I read this summer. Two beautiful books by Black writers from the United Kingdom. Natasha Brown with Assembly and Caleb Azuma Nelson with Open Water. Small books, about 200 pages. It took me a week or so, a couple of days at least, to read them. But actually, long time ago, when we were still able to travel within Europe, to travel to other continents, I remember that I read a book in one sitting. That was not actually a book that was so super fun to read. It was very emotional. It was very captivating. And that was by, I think the guy's name is Anthony Kotlowitz, and the book is called An American Summer, which is about the shootings, the enormous violence and deaths in Chicago and the Chicago South Side. I read that on a plane to Japan. From Paris, France, we flew all the way from Charles de Gaulle Airport to Haneda Airport in Tokyo, and that takes about 11 hours. And I read huge parts of that book on the plane. So that was one sitting. I was actually sitting in my stool, in my chair on that airplane. Q is for a question. You can ask me a question in the comments below. I answer every comment. That is sort of something that I say to you, right? So if you have any questions about me, I didn't want to do a Q&A before I reach 1,000 subscribers, if I ever will do that. But now it's the time. Put a question down below because it's a part of the tag, and I will answer almost every question. Not every question. Depends on. What is your favorite question word? And, well, that's a very easy question, and I think the most important question word is always, well, it's two actually, because why is, I wanted to say why, because why is such an important word, you know. Why do things happen? Why do we have climate change? Why do we have a COVID crisis? Why do we have to wear a mask? Why do we read? Why do we breathe? Why do we live, you know? But there's another question word that I learned from my professor from America that I always talk about, Arlen J. Hansen, University of the Pacific in Stockton, California. Sir, rest in peace. You were my greatest teacher ever. And you said one thing to us young students when I was younger, when I had hair all over my head. You said that we should ask one question to every piece of art, actually to everything in life, because you thought that this was the most fundamental question, and this question is called, so what? So what would be my answer now. Why? And then so what? Good. Q is for quantity and quality. Would you rather read 10 okay books in a month or one very good book? So would I read rather 10 books, a 3-star read, so that I can say, oh my God, I read 120 books this year? Or would you prefer to read one really 5-star novel or book each and every month only, and you have 12 novels? And the answer, I'm not a gourmand, I'm a gourmet, and that means I love beautiful stuff. I love stuff that makes me emotional, that makes me cry, that makes me feel, that makes me shiver, that makes me love and hate and whatever emotions there could be come from reading, you know. So I would definitely always say, give me that great novel every month, and I'm so happy about it. And I read one novel every month if it's always a 5-star read. There was so many good reads this year, and you can really look forward to my video of the 10 best books that I read. I haven't read so many books this year. There are other people who read like hundreds of books, but I read only about 40 books this year, and I hope that I will make the 50 by the end of the year. Still some time left this year, and there's a holiday coming up at the end of the year, so I think I can pace my reading a little bit up. But then in the end of the year we'll make a video. But I already can promise now that the 10 best books that I read in 2021 will be really good, although it's only 10 out of like 40 or 50 something. So that's the answer. Q is for queer. Do you have a favorite queer author? No, I don't have a queer favorite author. I don't have a heterosexual favorite author. I don't have a favorite. I think that's not working for me. I mean, I read a lot of queer authors over the last 3-4 years when I really restarted my reading after a long reading slump, after reading only crime novels and thrillers for many years. I came back sort of to literary fiction, and I read so many good queer authors like Ocean Vuong, like Bernardine Evaristo, like others, and but I don't have a favorite queer author. The next question is, Q is for quiet. Do you need quiet to read? Quiet can help reading, especially reading difficult stuff. Sometimes I read when I sit here, and when I'm alone in my living room, I read out loud because I love to read loud. It really trains my voice, it trains my English, it trains my pronunciation. I think it doesn't matter if you are a native speaker or not. Reading out loud is beautiful. And especially when you have beautiful words and sentences to read. So I don't need quiet. Sometimes I listen to music, and I want to actually more regularly give you the music that I listen to, that I liked when I listen to music. Right now I have a Spotify playlist with, I think, 1,500 songs. Most of them released this year, which I still have to listen to. In order to get the overview that I want to have about good and new music, because I want to keep up to date with new music all the time. That's also one of my great interests. I don't spend so much time to music anymore, but I still consume it, and I still can use it when I read. Right. So the next question would be, Q is for Quran. Have you read the Quran? I haven't read it from start to finish. I have, from time to time, tried to read. I haven't read the Bible either, so let's start with that. I have never read a religious core book, neither the Bible nor the Quran. I have read, what is it called in English? I don't know. We call it Suren in Germany, and I think even in Swedish there's a similar word. So I read some of the verses of the Quran, but I haven't read the whole book. And I wouldn't say that I understand neither the Bible or the Quran very much. I'm not a scholar, a religious scholar. That's what I'm not. Q is for Queensland, which is in Australia. Q is for Qatar, which is the country where, unfortunately, sorry to all my Qatarian friends, but I say unfortunately, next year the Football World Championships will take place. That's such a scandal. We shouldn't play there because there's so many people who have died in Qatar building all these stadiums. Q is for Quito, the capital of Ecuador, and Q is also for Quebec, the wonderful province in Canada. So what Jim is asking here is, have you read a book from any of these places or anywhere beginning with Q? I say no, but to this question. Nothing about Queensland, I think. Maybe, because Queensland is, I think, is it Sydney? Yeah, Sydney. I probably have read some stuff from Australia that plays out in Queensland. I haven't read anything about Qatar, a novel or something. Quito and Quebec, I think neither. Quebec, I'm not sure. But I definitely read a book. I definitely read a book where a site or a place starting with Q plays a very important role. And I read this year, and it was one of my greatest nonfiction reads ever. And this is after seeing the Oscar-winning movie of 2021, a movie that is called Nomadland, starring the amazing Frances McDormand. And I read the book also by Jessica Bruder, Nomadland. Hi, Jessica. Thanks for writing this enormously important book. And one of the places that is very important, because the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, I think it's called, that's the festival that is happening, I think, for every year now, for 4, 5, 6 years in a row. They have done it. This festival of the nomads living in their vans, living in their trucks, is happening in a place called Quartzsite, Arizona. So that's the place with Q. Q is for Quaker. Has there been a Quaker protagonist or character in any of your reading? Nope, I don't think so. I found a very interesting article when I did some research on that question, which I linked down below. It's from the amazing British newspaper, The Guardian. Such a great newspaper that everyone should read. And they have had an article, I don't know how many years ago, where they have top 10 characters in Quaker characters in literary fiction. So, but I haven't read Moby Dick, which is on that list as well, with one of the protagonists, not Ahab, but another protagonist of Moby Dick, which is apparently a Quaker. But I come to think of a movie, and then I had to Google and to research, is Quaker religion, is it somehow related to the Amish people? And I think so, yes, but also no. So please, you experts can write down below if there's a huge difference between Quaker and Amish. I found there is one big difference between the Amish and the Quaker. The Quakers are more liberal, whereas the Amish people do believe that they have to retreat from the rest of the world and to protect themselves from the rest of the world. So what I want to tell you is, of course, I always have these movie references, like Rachel Kushner has, one of my write your crushes probably. Rachel has always this references to movies in her beautiful essays that I read this year, The Hot Crowd. And I would think of a movie that I saw in the 80s that probably many of you older people have also seen. It's a movie called Witness by the amazing Australian director Peter Weir, starring Harrison Ford as a policeman, starring the wonderful Kelly McGillis, and also, I think he's a Danish actor, Viggo Mortensen. And this is Witness, where Harrison Ford plays a cop who gets drawn into the world of the Amish people. Very beautiful movie. Q is for quote. Can you share some quotes about reading? Or a quote about reading? And when I thought about this, I always come to think of a young woman who is now, I think, 23, 24 years old, and I think she married last week. So Malala Yousafzai, if you see this video, Malala, I congratulate you to your wedding, and may you and your beautiful husband live a beautiful and wonderful life. You deserve it. And because here comes your quote, which everybody knows, who knows Malala Yousafzai, the Nobel Peace Prize winner a few years ago. And she has said this beautiful words, which almost make me cry when I read it, because they're so beautiful and so powerful. One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. Ha! There's nothing better than this. Q is for Quill. Have you had any writings published? Yes, I have. Many years ago, I think about 15 years ago or something like that, or was it even 20 years ago? Maybe I wrote a book, the text of a book about Sweden, the country where I chose to live. So there was a picture book about Sweden, pretty big one. Maybe I'll find a cover on the net. I still have it here. Well, I can show it to you actually. So 16 years ago it was, I found out. Now 2005, I published, together with the photographer Petra Weir, I was the author of the text of this beautiful book here about Sweden, which in Germany is called Schweden. This was published in at a publishing house in Switzerland, I think in Zurich, called Laterna Magica. This is a beautiful edition with a lot of pictures from Sweden that Petra has done. I never met her, actually. We talked on the phone a couple of times, and the text is written by me, actually. So that is the one that I published. Oh my god, it's so heavy. It's like 5-6 kilos. And oh my gosh, yeah. I never made any money. It wasn't a bestseller. It wasn't on the New York Times list of best-selling books. That it wasn't. But it was fun to write it, and I really would like to write more. But that's maybe a plan that I will start somehow, somewhere, one of these days. Q's for Queen. Do you have a favorite book about a queen, or even about the Queen? I am a Republican, not in the meaning of the American Party, the Republicans, but I'm a Republican in the meaning of that no country should have kings and queens to rule a country. So I'm also an opponent to the Queen of and the King of Sweden. Sorry, dear Carl the 16th Gustav, and sorry, Queen Sylvia. I think that we should have presidents, elected people, brilliant people, and not people that get their position by birth. So that's why I'm a Republican. So I don't have a book about a queen. But I have a song about a queen, actually. And this is by my great friend. It feels like a friend because he spent so many hours. I spent so many hours with him and his music and at his concerts when he was traveling around here. Bruce Springsteen has written a song called Queen of the Supermarket. And it goes like this. I'm in love with the queen of the supermarket as the evening sky turns blue. A dream awaits in aisle number 222 or something like that, you know. Beautiful text, but this is more my kind of queen. The queens and the kings in our daily lives. The great people out there who make the world go round by working, living their normal lives. These are my kings and queens. So actually I read books about many queens, many beautiful and amazing women of every color, of every religion, from every continent. These people there's so many queens out there. We don't need queens by birth. So, and the last question, last but not least, Q's for quarrel. Have you ever argued about a book? I don't have argued about a book. I can be very passionate about books that I love, about things that I really adore, and I can really go for it. I don't hate books that much. I really, I have done that many times. And I'm so sorry, Miss Janine Cummings, but I did like your book, American Dirt. It was American Dirt. It was nothing else. But that's, for example, a book that I could quarrel about. If people like Oprah Winfrey, I would love to talk to Oprah about it. Oprah, come here and let us talk about American Dirt and why I dislike it, although you think that American Dirt would open up Americans to the fate of Latin people. I don't think so. And that was the last question. That was the Q tag. I love your amazing letter text. You have great ideas, Jim. I wish there would be another alphabet for you to do. So thanks very much for watching this video. I come back soon with another video on this channel. Thank you very much. Beware of the virus which is out there, especially in Europe, and bye-bye.